This is the second part of the chapter Security in Contemporary World. In the first part, we have understood the meaning of security, types of security, and see this. We have seen the meaning of security, the types of the security, traditional notion and non-traditional notion. And in the traditional notion, we have discussed the external notion, external traditional notion that we have done. In this video, I am going to explain this internal notion of traditional security, and I will be discussing the cooperative security measures also in case of traditional security. Okay, so let's begin this discussion. Now, what is the internal traditional notion? Now, in the traditional notion, you have seen that the main area of threat is violence that is coming from outside the country. Okay, so the source of violence is external. That's why it is called the external traditional security notion. Now, in case of internal security, the source of violence is from inside the countries. Okay, so it is said that countries do face violence not only from outside, but the threat of violence from maybe from inside the borders also. Fine. So when it comes from inside the borders of a nation, then it is called the internal security threat. If you see the studies on security, the studies on security do not give much importance to the internal security concerns. There is a reason for it, and the reason is the post-Second World War world. So in the post-Second World War world, you have seen that the Cold War was going on. Okay. And in the context of the Cold War, there were two superpowers. It was going on between USA and USSR. Fine. So most of the world was divided into these two camps. And when the world was divided into these two camps, the threat of war was from outside their nation. Okay, so that is why most of the nations concerned themselves to dealing with the threats that was coming from outside their borders, and that's why they stressed more on external security concerns and external security studies. Okay, now another reason was that in the post Second World War period, most of the European countries did not face any significant danger from inside their borders. Okay, so in most of these European countries and the Western countries, there were no threats from inside the borders. They were more peaceful. The threats were mainly coming from outside the borders, and that's why they concerned more on the external security, not on internal security. Fine. So because after the Second World War, most of the powerful countries on the earth, internal security was more or less assured. That's why they did not give much importance to internal security. And in the military alliance system, that's what I told you, in the Cold War, the world was divided into two camps, USA and USSR, and their military alliances, NATO and Warsaw Pact. So the security concerns were coming from external sources rather than internal sources, and that is why they concentrated more on external security, not on internal security. If we talk about the Afro-Asian nations in the post Second World War period, in the post Second World War period means after 1945. So after 1945, you have seen that in the European nations, mainly the security concerns are external, but in the Afro-Asian nations, the security concerns were internal as well. That's what I'm going to tell you now next. So, but the internal security concerns of the Afro-Asian nations were very different from the security concerns of the European nations. How? Let's see that. Now in case of internal security, we can divide it into two types of nations. So one is the Western European nations and the other is the Asian and the African nations. Okay, so internal security for the Western European nations, as I told you just now, that there were not many, there were no serious threats from groups and communities living within their borders, living within the borders of the European countries. What kind of threats they had? Some European powers worried about violence in their colonies. So you have seen that in 1945, when the Second World War ended, most of the colonies gained independence. Okay, but there were still some parts of the world which were being ruled by the European powers. So these countries faced the threat of colonial freedom movement from the colonies. Okay, so here they are talking about this. Fine. So European countries were worried about violence in the colonies from colonized people who wanted independence. And if you see here, you can give example of Vietnam War. You all have seen in the 1950s, where they tried to gain independence from French colonialism. Okay, and the other example is the war in Kenya, freedom struggle in Kenya against the British in the 1950s and 60s. Okay, so these two examples can be given here. So for the European nation, not much of the serious threats, and they face threat from the colonial movements, colonial independent movements. Okay, if we talk about the Afro-Asian nations in the period after 1945, that what kind of internal threats they were dealing with. So basically they were dealing with threats from the neighboring countries. Okay, and here you can give example of India and Pakistan also. So mainly they were involved in conflicts from the neighboring countries, and it was not always the conflict that resulted in war. It was also the conflict that the neighboring countries are creating trouble inside your borders. Then they face separatist struggles, and this is also called the secessionist movement. Okay, so separatist struggle and secessionist movements are the same thing wherever you find it. Secessionist movement, when one part of the country wants to get separated and form their independent nation. So they want to secede and form an independent nation. For example, we saw a secessionist movement in Punjab during the 80s and 90s. Okay, so we saw secessionist movement in Punjab. Many countries of the African and Asian region faced such separatist struggles, such secessionist movement, and these separatist movement became more complex when the neighboring countries got involved into it. Like in the Punjab crisis, in the Punjab secessionist crisis, Khalistan movement of India, it was supported by Pakistan. So then it became more complex. In the other manner, you can give example of Bangladesh that wanted to get separated from Pakistan, get independence from Pakistan, and create their independent nation. And in that, India supported Bangladesh. So many of the African and Asian countries face this struggle, the separatist struggle from inside their border. Then there were civil wars between different factions of the African and Asian countries, and here I am telling you the examples which you have read, so that it is easy for you. So Sri Lanka faced a civil war between the LTT and the Sri Lankan government. Okay, in the case of India, you can mention Naxalite struggle, but that you haven't studied so far. It's in the second book. So these are crises, and then one more term I had mentioned, that is insurgency. Insurgency is also there. Insurgency is when some group of people in the country, they oppose the government by taking to arms. Then it is called insurgency. So an example of insurgency is the Naxalite movement of India. Okay, so these all are threats that the Asian and the African nations faced in the post 1945 world. Uh, Basically, all these. Okay. Now, in case of the Western European countries at present, some of these countries are facing opposition. Some of the governments of these countries are facing opposition from their own people. That you can also mention as a development. Okay, so this is the traditional internal security notion. Now I move to cooperative security. What is cooperative security? Now you have seen that violence is a major threat, whether it comes from outside the border or from inside the borders of a country. So if it is from inside the borders of a country, the country alone has to deal with it. Okay, so if it is a separatist movements inside the country, the government of the country has to deal with it. If it is a civil war, if it is an insurgency, the government of the country has to deal with it. But if the violent threat is coming from outside the country, if it's an international war, if it's a war between two countries or war between many countries, all those countries can do a lot of things to minimize this threat of war. So cooperative security in case of traditional security are those efforts which the countries take to minimize the threat of war, to limit violence. Okay, so cooperation amongst the nations that can limit violence. Okay, if not eliminate. So if you cannot eliminate violence, at least limit this violence. And violence here means conflicts or war. Okay, now few things have already been decided amongst different nations in the world. It is accepted that countries should go war only for self-defense and preventing other people from genocide. So the cause of the war should be very severe. Okay, you cannot go to war for each and every single purpose or interest of yours. So one thing that is decided is self-defense and preventing other people from genocide. Fine. Then the other thing is that the armies must avoid killing or hurting non-combatants. Non-combatants means non-fighters. तो जब भी ये माना जाता है कि वॉर दो कंट्रीज या कई कंट्रीज की आर्मीज के बीच में होना चाहिए, कि आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के बीच में होना चाहिए, उसमें जो नॉन कॉम्बटेंट्स हैं, जो सिविलियंस हैं, उनको ना ही कोई चोट पहुंचनी चाहिए और ना ही उनको इन्वॉल्व किया जाना चाहिए. Okay, so not should avoid killing or hurting non-combatants as well as unarmed and surrendering combatants. Surrender, जो combatant, जो आर्मी, जो फोर्स सरेंडर कर चुकी है, उसके ऊपर कोई हमला नहीं होना चाहिए. ओके, और इसके साथ एक बात और भी कही गई है कि जो POWs होते हैं, प्रिजनर्स ऑफ वॉर्स, उनको उनके साथ इल ट्रीटमेंट नहीं होना चाहिए. So that's all accepted amongst nations. There are laws related to war, and this all is agreed upon by all the nations of the world. And then force must only be used when all other alternatives have failed. First alternative, बहुत से stages होती हैं और जब सारी stages fail हो जाती हैं, then the last resort is war. Okay. And there is one saying in politics that war is the failure of politics. What is politics? Politics is negotiations. जब आप अपने interest through peaceful ways आप solve कर ले जाते हैं तो उसको कहते हैं politics. और जब politics fail हो जाती है तब war होती है. तो सारे options you have to try before going for war. Okay, so in case all the other options fail, then only the nation should take recourse to violent means, because violence leads to lots of destruction, irreparable loss. Okay, तो cooperative security measures क्या क्या हो सकते हैं और कौन से other measures हैं which the nations are deploying to secure themselves against any kind of violence. So these are three category of measures: disarmament, arms control, and confidence building. And I'm going to explain each of one of these. So disarmament, what does it mean? It means giving up certain category of weapons. ठीक है, डिस आर्मामेंट होता है जब आप ऑक्यूपाई करें, जब आप अटेन करें, और उसको कहते हैं आर्मामेंटेशन. और डिसआर्मामेंट होता है जब आप गिव अप करें. Okay, so it means giving up certain category of weapons. Now, few agreements have already taken place in this area of disarmament, which are very significant. Number one is the Biological Weapons Convention. What are biological weapons? Biological weapons होते हैं when the countries try to transfer diseases. सो ये बहुत यूज होता था वॉर के केस में. जो कंट्रीज थे वो डिजीजेस ट्रांसफर करते थे इनटू एनिमल्स, इनटू क्रॉप्स, इनटू ह्यूमन बीइंग्स सो एज टू कॉज मैक्सिमम डैमेज टू द enemies. So this biological weapon convention was held in 1972. 155 states are the signatories and that they have banned the use of the biological weapons. So biological weapons अब banned हैं इनका यूज, इसीलिए इस समय इतनी ये बात हो रही है कि अगर चाइना के वुहान के किसी लैब में कोविड-19 का ये वायरस अगर बना है, then it is a severe thing. Okay, and then if it is proven, then all the nations are going to take action against China. अभी प्रूव नहीं हो पाया है वो, अभी खाली इसको कुछ नेशंस ऐसा बोल रहे हैं, ब्लेम कर रहे हैं. तो दूसरी चीज़ है केमिकल वेपन्स कन्वेंशन. अब इसके लिए केमिकल वेपन्स क्या होते हैं? केमिकल वेपन्स होते हैं द यूज ऑफ डेडली गैसेस. ओके, प्रोडक्शन एंड यूज ऑफ द डेडली गैसेस इन वॉर. तो बहुत सी डेडली गैसेस हैं जिनको वॉर में यूज़ किया गया. मोस्ट रिसेंटली अभी एक सीरीन गैस का यूज़ हुआ था. कहाँ हुआ था, कब हुआ था? इफ़ यू कैन टेल मी इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. एंड इट बिकेम अ वेरी कंटेंशियस इशू वेरी रिसेंटली. सीरीन गैस का यूज़ हुआ था. और दूसरा जो आप लोग ने पढ़ा है क्लास 10th में, इन वियतनाम वॉर यूएसए हैड यूज्ड द केमिकल वेपन्स like napalm and Agent Orange. That was used in the Vietnam War, for which US was criticized a lot. So Chemical Weapon Convention was held in 1992, signed by 181 states have acceded to this, and this has banned the use of chemical weapons because mostly जो chemical weapons होते हैं उनसे civilian population बहुत ज़्यादा affect होती है. Okay, the use of both of these biological and chemical weapons. तो ये जो disarmament agreement है ये हो चुके हैं. It is totally given up. It is totally banned now. Now the third category of weapons are nuclear weapons. So since the nations are not ready to give up their nuclear weapons, that is why nuclear weapons को tackle किया गया है arms control से. Okay. Now, what is the difference between arms control and disarmament? Arms control is limiting the acquisition. See the word limiting. It is not giving up. Limiting the acquisition, sophistication or use of certain category of weapons. Okay. Disarmament में क्या है? Disarmament में you give up that weapon altogether. Okay, arms control में you limit that weapon. So none of the countries were ready to give up their nuclear weapons. That is why they thought of limiting the acquisition, sophistication and use of the nuclear weapons. Now in this area, in the arms control of nuclear weapons, several treaties and talks have been conducted. सबसे पहले आती है ये एंटी बैलिस्टिक मिसाइल ट्रीटी 1972 में साइन हुई थी between USA and USSR. So during the Cold War, this nuclear arms race was going on between USA and USSR, and that was creating a lot of tension in the world. So in 1972, this treaty was signed. It continued after the end of the Cold War also, and in 2002, USA has withdrawn from the treaty. तो अब ये खत्म हो गई है. Okay, 2002 में ये end हो गई है. SALT 1 is strategic arms limitation talks. So it was done in two phases, SALT 1 and SALT 2. The detail of this SALT 1, SALT 2, START 1, START 2 and all these treaty you can find at the end of the first chapter. Cold War era के chapter के end में देखिएगा, इनका detail book में भी दिया हुआ है. ओके, तो एक बार पढ़ लीजिएगा. SALT 1 आया था 1969 में, SALT 2 आया 1972 में, START 1 आया 1991 में and START 2 आया 1993 में. So all of these treaties and talks, they talked of limiting the strategic arms. Okay, especially the anti-ballistic missile systems and all those things. And some of them were approved, some of them were not approved by the legislatures. और ये जो सारी थी, this is between USA and USSR, and then after the end of the Cold War between USA and Russia. ठीक है, तो ये यूएसए और रशिया के बीच में है, ये यूएसए यूएसएसआर, यूएसए यूएसएसआर एंड यूएसए यूएसएसआर. Okay, then the most significant development in case of limiting the nuclear weapons had been NPT and CTBT. NPT is Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. It came in 1967. Okay, and India has not signed this, any of these, both of these. क्यों नहीं साइन किया इंडिया ने? एनपीटी 1967 में आई थी और ये थी क्या, इसमें जो 5 न्यूक्लियर पावर्स थे टिल 1967, ओके, यूएसए, यूएसएसआर, चाइना, फ्रांस एंड यूके. ओके, सो इट वाज सेड दैट only these 5, apart from these 5 powers, no one is going to conduct any nuclear test further. तो अगर आपने 1 जनवरी 1967 तक न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट, न्यूक्लियर एक्सप्लोजन्स कर लिए हैं, then it is fine, but it was going to ban the nuclear explosions after this date. So India said that this is discriminatory, but because it will make these 5 countries only the nuclear powers, तो बाकी जो कंट्रीज हैं वो न्यूक्लियर कैपेबिलिटी कभी भी एक्वायर नहीं कर पाएंगे अगर वो इस ट्रीटी को साइन कर देते हैं. इंडिया ने कहा कि वी विल साइन अ ट्रीटी दैट विल एंड, विच टॉक्स ऑफ टोटल न्यूक्लियर डिसआर्मामेंट, कि ये जो पांचों पावर्स हैं जिनके पास भी न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स एट प्रेजेंट हैं, दे ऑल डिसाइड टू डिस्ट्रॉय दैट न्यूक्लियर कैपेबिलिटी. Then only we are going to sign any such treaty, and not these kinds of treaty that proliferate the monopoly of the nuclear weapons of a few powers. Okay, CTBT को जनरल असेंबली में, यूएन जनरल असेंबली में आया था, ये 1996 में इसको एक्सेप्ट कर लिया गया था, और till now it has been signed by 184 nations, but it never came into effect because one of the clauses of the CTBT full form है Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. So one of the clauses of the CTBT say that it will come into force only when it is signed and ratified by all the countries. So few countries have not yet ratified it, and one amongst them is India also. तो इंडिया ने क्यों, CTBT जो है वो टेस्ट एक्सप्लोजन्स को बैन करता है फॉर सिविलियन पर्पसेस एज वेल एज मिलिट्री पर्पसेस. तो यहाँ पे भी इंडिया का ऑब्जेक्शन जो है वो यही है कि व्हाट अबाउट दी न्यूक्लियर कैपेबिलिटीज विच हैज बीन एक्वायर्ड बाय द नेशंस. तो पहले आप लाइक इंडिया का जो ऑफिशियल स्टैंड है ऑन द न्यूक्लियर डिसआर्मामेंट इज दैट इंडिया सपोर्ट्स कंप्लीट कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव न्यूक्लियर डिसआर्मामेंट. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि कुछ कंट्रीज के पास न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स रहें और बाकी कंट्रीज को आप मना कर दें कि आप कोई भी न्यूक्लियर एक्सप्लोजन्स नहीं कर सकते हैं. तो कोई भी ऐसी ट्रीटी जो इस तरह का क्लॉज रखती है, इंडिया उसको साइन नहीं करेगी. ये इंडिया का स्टैंड है, एंड दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई इंडिया हैज नॉट साइंड एनपीटी और सीटीबीटी. Okay, but these are major efforts in case of controlling the acquisition and the use of nuclear weapons, arms control. Okay, उसके बाद तीसरी कैटेगरी जो आती है वो कोऑपरेटिव सिक्योरिटी की है, वो है कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर्स. कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर्स क्या होते हैं? देखिए, ये माना जाता है दैट वॉर अमंग नेशन इज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ मिसट्रस्ट. दो कंट्रीज के बीच में वॉर इसलिए होती है, हम लोग ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा वेपन्स इसलिए एक्वायर करते हैं क्योंकि हमको लगता है कि अगले ने हमसे ज़्यादा सोफिस्टिकेटेड वेपन्स एक्वायर कर लिए. तो ये आर्म्स रेस का रीज़न ही ये है बिकॉज द नेशंस डू नॉट शेयर देयर इंफॉर्मेशन. सो अगर ये इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर की जाए, अगर ये ट्रांसपेरेंट कर दिया जाए, तो ये मिसट्रस्ट और सस्पिशन कम हो जाएगा और उसकी वजह से आर्म्स बिल्डअप भी कम होगा और वॉर की पॉसिबिलिटी भी घटेगी. तो कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर्स में बहुत सी चीज़ें इन्वॉल्व हैं. जैसे पहला है मिलिट्री इंटेंशंस और प्लान्स. आपके जो मिलिट्री प्लान्स हैं उनको आप शेयर करिए विद अदर नेशंस. सिक्योरिटी इंटेलिजेंस शेयर करिए। सिक्योरिटी इंटेलिजेंस मीन्स अगर आपको कहीं सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट का कुछ इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है, इंटेलिजेंस सोर्सेज जो हैं आपके, वो आपको कोई सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट बता रहे हैं जो आपके नेशंस के लिए हैं या फिर किसी दूसरे कंट्री के लिए हैं, तो आप उनके साथ वो शेयर करिए। डिप्लॉयमेंट ऑफ फोर्सेस क्लियर करिए कि आपने कौन कौन सी फोर्सेस कहाँ कहाँ पे डिप्लॉय कर रखी हैं। उसके बाद काइंड एंड द अमाउंट ऑफ आर्म्स एंड वेपन्स दैट यू हैव, ये सारी जो हैं ये बड़ी स्ट्रेटेजिक चीज़ें हैं, इसमें इन्वॉल्व रहती हैं। तो कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्डिंग मेजर में यही है, इनको CBMs कहा जाता है, और कहा जाता है कि इफ़ वी स्टार्ट डूइंग दिस देन इट विल रिड्यूस मिसट्रस्ट एंड सस्पिशन अमंग नेशंस विच यूजुअली लीड्स टू वॉर। तो ये भी एक तरीका है वॉर की पॉसिबिलिटी को कम करने का, और बहुत से नेशंस ये कर भी रहे हैं, CBM से बहुत काम कर रहे हैं, बट इट इज़ ऑलवेज वेरी डाउटफुल दैट ऑल द नेशंस विल शेयर एवरीथिंग रिलेटेड टू देयर सिक्योरिटी, especially with their enemy countries. So this is not very successful, and that is the reason why despite so much of effort, this threat of this threat to external security cannot be eliminated. It can be limited, it can be controlled, it can be managed only. तो वॉर का थ्रेट इसीलिए अभी भी एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है, एंड दैट इज द मेन रीजन वाई मोस्ट ऑफ द कंट्रीज इन द वर्ल्ड आर स्पेंडिंग टू मच ऑन देयर डिफेंस so as to secure themselves against this external threat. So in this second part I have finished the traditional notion of security, both external, internal and the cooperative security measures. Now in the third part of this chapter I will be telling about the non-traditional notion of security, which is asked a lot in the examination. Okay, so please do watch the next video also. Thank you for watching it. Keep studying, keep yourself fit and fine. Bye bye.